Hello, my name is Nullrails, but I'm here today to show you how I make liveries on Dragon Railway models. So I have here the Dragon boxcar model. Since we're making it into a Burlington and Northern livery today, first thing I'm going to do is make it green. This is purely cosmetic, but it helps us see what we're doing later, and it makes me feel better. So I'm going to select the body in both doors while holding down Control. Then I'm going to right click here and select appearance, or you can hit A on your keyboard. And I'm going to come here into the library and search for green plastic. And I usually use the matte one, I think it looks nice. So we'll drag it here. And we're green. Now the next thing we're going to need is the artwork we're going to put on the side. And for that, we are going to use this nice SVG I found on Wikimedia Commons. You can use art from wherever for doing this, or you can draw your own, you can trace pictures, but if you can just find an SVG file that's available and you're allowed to use, that makes it easy because you can just import this directly into Fusion 360. So I'm going to save this. Well, I've already saved this. So you save this to your computer and go back to Fusion. And then what we're going to do is start a sketch. Now you can just hit sketch and then, select a plane, but then your sketch will be right in the middle. It's a little bit easier, at least for me, to start it from the plane we're going to be cutting into. So let's start on this side of the boxcar. And we need to select the highest up face we're going to be modifying. We're not touching the door for this. So I'm going to select one of these faces on one of these vertical bars here. Then I'm going to click Create Sketch, and we'll have a sketch on a plane right at the outer face of the boxcar there. Well, let's bring that back into view, and we're going to come up here to Insert and Insert SVG. Then you go Insert from my computer and find the SVG wherever you downloaded that to. And then when it comes in, we can see here it's huge. So we'll scale that down a bit. And I'm judging this based off of a reference photo I found just on Google Images. So I'm going to line that up somewhere I'm roughly happy with. I don't know, let's make it a little bigger. Smaller details will disappear, so the bigger you can get it, the better, without looking ridiculous. That looks... I don't know, I think that's about good there. So we'll leave that there, just hit OK, and now our vector's imported. Obviously our text is in the wrong place, so let's fix that now. So I'm going to highlight over all that text and right click and choose Unfix. And what that does is when it's green, that geometry is locked in place, it can't be moved. But when it's blue, it is not locked in place and you can do whatever you want with it. So now I'm going to hit M on my keyboard, which brings up the Move dialog. And then I'm going to select all this text again, and now you can see we can just kind of drag it around. It's a little bit laggy, because that's a lot of data points for Fusion to keep up with, but it'll work for our purposes. Now drag that over to the other side. And I noticed from some reference photos I see, they break up the text to fit between these vertical bars. And we could do that, but I don't think we don't have enough bars, and at any rate, that's extra effort. You could do that in Inkscape, though, if that was the type of thing. You could do it here, or it'd be easier to do in Inkscape if that was the type of thing you're inclined to do. We'll just try and line it up here. Try and avoid getting on the vertical parts too much. I think a little bit is going to be inevitable. But I'm about happy with that. It looks like on the reference photos, the Burlington Northern words set just a little bit below the top of the big logo. And the big logo is there relative to these horizontal pieces. And the words are just a little bit lower. So I think I'm happy with that. Now we're going to finish sketch. Alright, now that we have our shapes roughly placed, now we need to do something with them. You can try and split using these shapes, but that doesn't usually work. Oh, looks like there it did. Get lucky sometimes. But then you'd have to redraw this on the other side. So what I'm going to do instead, oops, went back too far. What I'm going to do instead is make shapes here, and then we'll copy them about the origin and reuse them on the opposite side. So I'm going to select all these shapes. It's a little bit time consuming. There may be a better way to do this, and if you know it, please let me know. And then I'm going to extrude this. You can click here, or you can just hit E on your keyboard. I'm going to take off the roof so we can see a little bit easier. But just far enough to come through the back wall. You can do it without coming through, but I generally go all the way through. So 4 millimeters, looks like that'll do what we need, and then we're going to change this from cut to new body. And hit OK. Now before we do anything else, we're going to copy these around to the other side. I'm going to turn on the origin. That turns on our point in these bars here. Oh, first I want to make sure that this model is actually even about the origin. If not, we can make a new line to revolve around. But I'm just going to measure, just real simple, hit I to bring up the measurement dialog. Click this inside face and this origin line. You can see that's 92.4. And then do the same thing on the other side. 92.4, so this model is even about the origin. So now what we're going to do is hit M again, bring up the move dialog, select rotate, and then we're going to select all these new bodies we've made. So that's easily done by going over here, selecting the first one, holding down shift, and then going down to the bottom. And then we're going to select axis and select our z-axis there. And then last thing we're going to do is hit create a copy. After you do that, you can grab this and drag it around 180 degrees. So we can just type 180 and hit enter. And now we have it the same on both sides. The next thing we're going to do here is make a copy of the body. And you'll see why in a minute here. Again, this is something that there might be an easier way, and if you know, please tell me. But this is the way I've been doing this. So I'm going to hit M again to bring up the move copy dialog. I'm going to select body and then select create a copy. We can just leave it and rotate. It doesn't matter if we don't select or rotate anything, and we do have create a copy chosen. all it does is create a copy. You can see down here we've got the helpfully named body 1. So I'm going to turn that off for right now, and we'll come back to that. So now we'll choose combine, and this seems a little counterintuitive, but you'll see why in a minute. And then cut and keep tools. Then the first thing you're going to click is your body, so that's your target body. And then for your tool bodies, you're going to use all these new pieces we've created. And you'll see how that's going to cut out all those shapes into the body. We hit OK, and it does that, but we keep our new shapes that we've made. And this will complicate things a little bit, because now we have all these new bodies down here that are pieces on the inside, and we have to keep track of those. So this is the copy I've made. Let's just call that copy so we don't lose it. And then these we're going to call livery parts. And that's just because those are little pieces we need to not get rid of, we need to keep track of, but we don't need them right now. So now we're going to get rid of this body that we cut the shapes into. By selecting it and hitting V, it appears that body here is now the center of that O, so we can get rid of that. And then we'll come down here and also get rid of all of these livery parts. Let's turn that back on. And now we should have nothing here but the shapes we want to make. And we're going to turn back on our copy. Now we're going to go to combine again. Again, select our target, our copy as our target, and then all of our cutting pieces. And this time we're going to change this to intersect and deselect keep tools. So now when you hit OK, you've got just these shapes. And you can see now we've got all these over here as body copy. So now we'll change those. A matte white plastic, because that's convenient. So select the top one and the bottom one and drag white onto it. Now those are all white except for that one for some reason, because it's got a different name. Make that one white too. And now when we turn all our livery parts and the original body back on, you can see we have a full livery. And we could go further and put on identifying numbers and all that, but those small details oftentimes don't come out very well printed, and I think for what this is, this gets the point across quite well. So the last thing I'm going to do here is clean this up a little bit and export this into a way we can print. So first thing I'm going to do is organize these by color. So I'm going to create two new groups here, and I'm going to call them body green and body white. And then we're going to select first all the green parts, which is everything, which is the original body object, and the rest of the green parts. We're just going to drag those into body green. Then we're going to grab body copy, and the rest of these parts should be all the white parts. drag those into body white. And now just to make sure, we'll come here and say show all. Then we turn off green, we should just see the white parts. Don't worry about the doors. And then when we turn on green and turn off white, we should only see the green parts. Alright, we're good there. So now we need to export these into a format we can use in our slicer. So we're gonna turn off everything. Turn off the origin again, didn't do that before. So we've got nothing else showing. Then we're gonna turn on just the green files, including the ones that'll be like floating. So we'll come up here to the title of our file, we'll right click and we'll choose Save as Mesh and just hit OK here and make sure this is going to go somewhere you can find it, and then name it something you can remember. So we'll call it boxcar BNN green, and then we'll hide that, show white, and do the same thing for the white pieces. Save as mesh, OK. Boxcar BN white. Once you're in Bamboo Studio or Orca Slicer, whatever your preference is, go to Add, and then select both files, or if you've done more than 2 colors, all the files you've created, and then click on Open. And when it asks you load these files as a single object with multiple parts, click Yes. It'll look at first like you've just imported your original model, but if you come over here to Objects and select White, you'll see here that you got the green and the white files. Select the white one, and since our second filament is white, hit 2, and you'll see that's colored in. Now all that's left to do is make this actually printable. First we'll put it top down, and then we'll set up supports. Now you can use auto supports for this, but I find that auto supports get a little carried away. So I'm going to do manual tree supports and choose on build plate only. Then we have to paint on the supports. So we're going to use the fill tool and then just come under here and fill any areas that need a lot of support. We'll do the ladders too, make sure those look nice. These side pieces come out alright in my experience. Now that that's done, we can see that this looks good. All that's left is to hit print, and in a measly 11 hours we'll have a nice Burlington and Northern boxcar body ready to go. I hope you learned something here. This has been my first ever video tutorial. So if you enjoyed this and would like to see something similar, let me know. I'll see what I can do. Thanks for watching.